Coming up next, federal cuts at the National Weather Service impact the local meteorology community.
In my entire life, I have never seen anything like this.
Plus, construction beginning on area interstates will impact traffic as thousands are taking off for spring break at Penn State.
And it's one of the nation's fastest growing sports among girls. How's the sport doing in our area? The Center County Report starts now.
Good afternoon. I'm Carson Schuler.
And I'm Lauren Reel. Thanks for joining us for the Center County Report. Reaction is still coming in after President Trump's address to the nation on Tuesday this week. The president highlighted the actions he's taken in his first 46 days in office. Hannah Newrohr has the story. Thanks, Lauren. That's right. Reactions are still coming in. Something interesting to note here is that this is the longest congressional address in 60 years. At more than 90 minutes, let's take a look. President Trump's speech highlighted a divided nation and Congress. Republicans stood and cheered while Democrats stayed silent or occasionally shouted in protest. One lawmaker was even kicked out after shouting at Trump. The president talked about the aggressive actions he's taken so far, including imposing tariffs, restricting DEI, implementing the Department of Government Efficiency, and more.
I return to this chamber tonight to report that America's momentum is back.
Supporters say he's doing what he promised to do when elected.
I would say, my takeaways are three things. One, America is back. He's doing what he promised he was going to do, and Republicans have delivered results.
Opponents say many of the president's moves are disappointing or dangerous. Penn State political science professor Dr. Berkman disagrees with many of the things the president talked about.
He's a lame duck president. He's not going to run for office again. And I'm not sure he's that committed to the Republican Party. So, the Republican Party's success is not, in my view, his top priority.
With DOGE affecting local offices, including the Fish and Wildlife Services and the Employment Standards Administration, here in State College, Representative Takak says we need to stay optimistic.
We need to stand up for the people who don't have a voice. That is the bottom line. We need to stand up for the people who are most vulnerable.
President Trump has only been in office for 46 days, meaning that this congressional address is not classified as a State of the Union speech, which are usually given after a year of being in office. In University Park, I'm Hannah Newrohr with the Center County Report. Back to you, Carson.
Protesters gathered outside Pennsylvania's capital in Harrisburg Tuesday as part of the nationwide 50-51 movement. The movement, which stands for 50 protests, 50 states, 1 day, focuses on the Trump administration and Project 2025. Demonstrators held signs and chanted against policies they say threaten democracy and civil rights. Organizers say the effort began online and quickly spread across the country. The science and weather community was rocked by firings last week, part of the federal cuts at the National Weather Service and its parent organization, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Mackenzie Bruns has that story.
Potentially dangerous. That's how weather experts are describing sweeping cuts to the National Weather Service and parent agency NOAA.
In my entire life, I have never seen anything like this. And it is horrible.
The two agencies are the backbone of the American weather industry. The Trump administration eliminated hundreds of positions, including meteorologists and climate scientists. One of the two National Weather Service offices in PA is in State College. Penn State meteorology professor Dr. Greg Jenkins knows former colleagues forced out of their jobs.
Are you kidding me? This is not like a game. These are like people's lives. And they're just being cut at their ankles.
A congressional report from 2023 says about half of the National Weather Service offices are already understaffed. More cuts could keep them from performing basic functions like sending out life-saving information. Dr. John Neese teaches at Penn State's meteorology department. He has local concerns.
If you ask your local emergency manager, he or she will likely tell you that they're best buddies with the local National Weather Service office. So from a local perspective, during those times when it really matters, when the weather gets nasty, there can really be some negative impacts.
Penn State's meteorology department is one of the largest in the country. It graduates about 45 students per year, and a good percentage of those students eventually work for the federal government, leaving some worried about jobs. Students like aspiring meteorologist Dane Timmons.
I hope that there's a future where the Weather Service is more respected, more funded, that people, understand what the Weather Service does.
We reached out to NWS offices and employees, all declined our request for comment. NOAA provided us with a statement saying they continue to provide weather information, forecasts, and warnings. The Trump administration says the federal cuts are common sense government reform. In State College, I'm Mackenzie Bruns for the Center County Report.
The cuts come as the spring tornado and storm season is just beginning.
Experts are monitoring disease outbreaks here in Pennsylvania. There are reported cases of chickenpox at Penn State and measles in other parts of the state. Sarah Grosh reports.
Health experts say after an international trip, an unvaccinated child brought measles to Montgomery County near Philadelphia. That's after another recent outbreak in Texas. It's a highly contagious disease that can take up to 21 days for symptoms to develop.
If you put 10 people in a room and you expose them to the measles virus, 9 out of 10 of them will get the measles.
Dr. Jonathan Cohen is an infectious disease specialist in Montgomery County.
You can get infection in your brain, you can get infection in your lungs. The rates of that are pretty low, but it still happens and people die.
Since measles is highly contagious, it's recommended that you contact your healthcare provider if you are unvaccinated and think you've been exposed. While measles is in Montgomery County, chickenpox is here in Center.
Penn State University recently announced 3 cases of chickenpox on the University Park campus. UHS listed times and places of possible exposure.
The first couple of days, you actually don't have the rash.
Dr. Morgan Decker is a pediatrician at Mount Nittany. She emphasized the importance of protecting yourself.
Things you would do for any virus: washing your hands, making sure you're vaccinated. If you choose to wear a mask, you can absolutely wear a mask if you're concerned.
And doctors say it's never too late to get vaccinated. With the new MMRV vaccine, you can get measles, mumps, rubella, and varicella covered all in one. In University Park, I'm Sarah Grosh for the Center County Report.
Doctors recommend isolating right away if you notice any symptoms of either disease.
Stay healthy if you're traveling in the coming weeks. Beginning today, thousands of people are taking off as spring break begins at Penn State and other places. Reporter Owen Gelber is live at the State College Airport, where it's going to be a busy weekend. Owen.
Airport employees are certainly gearing up for quite the busy weekend as thousands of Penn State students and local residents head out of town for spring break. Dozens of flights will depart from the airport this weekend, bound for larger hubs like Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., and Chicago. Airport officials are advising travelers to arrive early, check in online to expedite check-in queues, and to pack your carry-ons and luggage accordingly to avoid delays at TSA checkpoints. Greyhound and Fullington Trailway buses will also be running at an increased schedule with direct routes to New York, Baltimore, Boston, Philadelphia, and other northeastern cities. AAA has a Know Before You Go travel guide if you wanted more information on safe traveling. Have safe travels and enjoy spring break. Live at the airport, I'm Owen Gelber. Now back to you.
Thanks, Owen. Here's a travel heads up if you'll be driving on I-80 and 99 in Center County. Work is underway again on the high-speed interchange project connecting the 2 highways. Lane closures began this week on the interstates in the Bellefonte area. It's part of a $259 million project. Penn State says the project in Boggs, Spring, and Marion Townships will improve traffic flow, with completion expected in 2030.
So are we done with the winter weather, or is more on the way? We check the forecast coming up.
Also coming up, Pope Francis is still in the hospital recovering from pneumonia. Pennsylvania Catholics are among those praying for his recovery. Pope Francis is still hospitalized and slowly recovering from pneumonia as Pennsylvania Catholics pray for his recovery. Isabel Charbonneau reports.
People across the world have been praying for the recovery of Pope Francis, who was admitted to Rome's Gemelli Hospital last month. Many supporters are standing outside the hospital holding vigil. The 88-year-old Pope is facing a case of complex pneumonia in both lungs, resulting from a bout of bronchitis. For those in the United States, support for the Pope looks different. Catholic parishes around the U.S., like State College's Our Lady of Victory, are finding other ways to honor Pope Francis.
So we have a special intentions portion of the Mass, and so really, we've been saying a special prayer for Pope Francis, that he gets better during this time.
Penn State professor Gary Adler has studied how Catholic parishes in the U.S. have changed over the course of Pope Francis's papacy and said that Pope Francis being sick could cause people to look at the papacy through new eyes.
So I think there'll be a focus on the papacy in that way, out of mourning a leader and then a curiosity of who the next leader is.
According to the Pew Research Center, 75% of American Catholics view Francis favorably, but Adler says figures like the Pope can seem larger than life.
And most popes are known about by local Catholics, but they're kind of an abstract, out there entity.
Details of Pope Francis's condition have been guarded and changing often. After suffering from a respiratory failure attack early this week, the Pope has remained stable. In State College, I'm Isabel Charbonneau for the Center County Report.
Earlier this week, the Vatican released a brief audio recording of Pope Francis thanking everyone for the prayers for his health. This is the first time any audio has been released since his hospitalization began last month.
As the United States pauses aid to Ukraine, a local government is taking a position. Residents came out to voice their opinions on the matter Monday night. The State College Bureau Council voted 5-1 in favor for the United States government continuing support for Ukraine.
Get ready to ride a weather roller coaster as we have a lot of up and down coming to our temperatures. Taking a look at the golf courses this afternoon, we have mostly sunny skies, but it doesn't feel as warm as it looks, sitting at a temperature of 41 degrees. With that wind, it feels like the lower 30s, so quite chilly out there this afternoon. Looking at the temperatures across the state, farther north, a little cooler, Bradford sitting around the freezing mark, but as you head further south and east, closer to the capital region, temperatures already climbing into the upper 40s down there. Satellite and clouds, not much going on. A few snow showers across the I-81 corridor this morning, but those are slated to dissipate ahead of our next system, which will bring some impacts to much of the central United States, moving eastward into this evening and overnight hours, bringing the risk for some snow showers as we head into our overnight hours here in central Pennsylvania. But timing it out for the rest of the day, temperatures peaking around 44 degrees, which is right on average for this time of year. But we'll see those clouds thicken up as we see our next system move into the region tonight. So tonight, a low of 31 degrees is expected with a few snow showers and flurries late. We do have those gusty winds sticking around. So timing out that system, by 11 o'clock, snow showers beginning to move into the region, but as it moves eastward into central PA, it loses a little bit of that juice, so we'll see those showers dissipate by the morning commute. And then if you're heading out of State College for spring break tomorrow, not much going on. Those clouds will quickly dissipate as we go throughout the morning hours. This will lead us to a high of 38 tomorrow, a little bit chilly, but still no much precipitation going on tomorrow, making for great travel conditions. But in more exciting news, above average temperatures are expected for much of the eastern United States as we head into next week, which is great weather conditions. And even in more exciting news, daylight saving time begins this weekend. As we head into Sunday, we'll move our clocks forward 1 hour, which will allow for 7 o'clock sunsets to return. And now for your 7-day outlook, we'll see those temperatures climb up as we head into early next week. Sunny skies persisting as well. Temperatures near 70 by Tuesday, and those warm conditions persist as we head into later next week. So for residents staying here in State College, they'll get a little bit of a spring break, it seems like, with those very warm temperatures lingering.
Unfortunately, I can't enjoy the spring weather quite yet because I'll be in some snowy areas next week.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have spring break, and I'll also be hitting the airport. Hopefully there's no delays. Now, let's go over to Kira with sports.
And coming up, what started as a niche sport has grown into one of the nation's fastest growing sports. And high school wrestling is on its way to states in Hershey, Pennsylvania, with several local wrestlers taking part. I'm Kiera Baker with sports. Penn State hockey faces a do-or-die series this weekend at Michigan. Penn State men's hockey analyst Eric Olsen is live in Ann Arbor with more. Eric?
Hey, Kiera. Welcome into Yost Ice Arena. Michigan is on the ice behind me, as you can hear, for their pregame skate. Penn State was on the ice earlier this morning ahead of tonight's 7 p.m. puck drop in this best-of-3 quarterfinal series in the Big Ten tournament. Now, Yost has been a difficult place for Penn State to play. The Nittany Lions have only won in this building 5 times ever. But the good news is, one of those wins came just a few weeks ago. On January 31st, Penn State won that Friday night 5-4. Now, Hobie Baker, hopeful. Aiden Finn has 10 career goals in just 8 games against the Wolverines, so he's going to be a big factor in this series. Now, it is do or die for both teams because they are trying to make the NCAA tournament, but the path for Penn State is simple. Win this series, and not only will the Nittany Lions advance to the Big Ten semifinal next weekend, but they will essentially lock up a spot in the NCAA tournament where they are guaranteed to play in Allentown. Kiera, back to you.
Thanks, Eric. Penn State Wrestling is heading to Northwestern for the Big Ten Championships this weekend. The Nittany Lions are undefeated so far and claim the Big Ten regular season championship. 10 wrestlers for Penn State are ranked. Penn State has won all 8 of their Big Ten championships under head coach Cale Sanderson. Those who qualify from this tournament will head to the NCAA championships this weekend of March 20th. Penn State baseball continues its best season since 1980. The Nittany Lions played their home game opener this week against Fairleigh Dickinson and won a 7-6 game. They're now 9-1 on the season. Infielder Joe Jakonski drove in 2 runs as pitcher Harrison Milani earned the win and Chase Renner locked up the save. Penn State will host Indiana in a 3-game series with a doubleheader underway as we speak and the final game on Sunday. High school wrestling is moving on to Hershey in states at Hershey with multiple local wrestling participating. This weekend, the Southwest AA Regionals concluded with Bishop McCourt as the frontrunners, scoring a record of 314 points. Not every wrestler at this regional was able to keep their undefeated season. Penn State commit Dalton Perry gave West Virginia commit Ramil Islamov his first loss of the season by 7-6 decision. Perry was Central Mountain's only champion of the regional and will look to his second state title.
I felt good. I mean, I was excited to come out here and compete. I mean, it's the postseason. This is why you wrestle. So I mean, it's just exciting. It felt good though.
Wrestling is a fast-growing sport across the country. So is flag football, which started as a niche sport, has grown into something much more. Tyler Hamer reports.
1, 2, 3, Speed, skill, running, passing. Flag football is now one of the fastest-growing sports in the country, especially among girls.
I want the best for my daughter. I want her to be strong and confident, and I want her to be able to be social with other kids.
For more families, this version of football offers a way to keep kids engaged and active while avoiding many of the risks of traditional tackle football.
I think this is a good way to bring everybody together, make new friends, and just be social with one another.
The sport has grown exponentially in recent years. There's flag football in college, high schools, rec leagues, and it's sanctioned in more than a dozen states.
It's just tremendous to see that, and then at the grassroots level, from a participation standpoint, you're looking at over 200% increase in participation of young girls ages 6 to 12 playing the game.
Here in our area, the Nittany Valley Rec Center is launching its first all-girls flag football league this month.
We've been running a co-ed league for the last several years. I've been running it for the last 4 winters, which is usually our busiest season, obviously being an indoor sports facility. But this is the first time we're going to be offering a girls-specific flag football league.
A study from the National Federation of State High School Associations shows the sport has increased 173%, while basketball is dropping.
Because the state of Pennsylvania is going to be offering it as a PIAA sport within the coming year, we think because we have the infrastructure built, because we already have the league established, we have the space, particularly in the spring and the fall, to fit a league into our schedule. It's something that we're very interested in, and it's exciting.
With momentum building at every level, the future of flag football here in Center County is just getting started. I'm here in the intramural building, where Penn State offers both men's and co-rec flag football leagues for their students in the spring and the fall.
Even the NFL plays a role. We recently checked out a girls' flag football jamboree camp hosted by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
This is exciting, right? I've been part of this since 2022, and just to see where it was at infancy stages to where it is now. A lot of young ladies out here, they are excited to be a part of it.
At the high school level, 14 states, Pennsylvania included, have now sanctioned flag football as an official sports program. State College High's athletic director says it may be coming soon.
It's an exciting possibility. I think we're all excited about the potential of adding female sports where we can and where it makes sense. We did send out a survey back in the fall to female students grades 7 through 12 to try to assess and gauge interest levels for flag football. And what came back was really encouraging.
Because it gives them hope, because now, being able to be a high school sport, it gives them something to work towards.
Building momentum one game at a time, I'm Tyler Hamer for the Center County Report.
Flag football will make its Olympic debut in Los Angeles in 2028. Now that's all for sports. Now back to you, Lauren and Carson. And honestly, I'm super excited to see what this new edition of flag football will bring to the 2028 Olympics.
Yeah, I'm also really excited about the Olympics and Penn State wrestling. Big weekend ahead. This could be the best team ever.
I'm looking forward to watching. Thanks, Kiara. Coming up next, she started here in our studio, then went on to national fame as a chef and social media personality. Find out how she's being honored by Penn State. Penn State University is honoring an alum who gained national fame when she won a TV competition. Gabrielle Chappelle is a chef, media personality, and former journalist who won Fox's Next Level Chef with Gordon Ramsay last fall. She's one of 8 Penn Staters who will be honored with Alumni Achievement Awards later this month. Chappelle is also a former anchor here at the Center County Report. Congrats to her.
That's all for today's newscast. We'll hope you'll join us in 2 weeks for our next local news update.
But you can follow us anytime for breaking news on our Center County Report X. And you can see our stories on our Facebook page, Instagram, YouTube, and our website. Have a good weekend.